Welcome back to another episode of Smell What Coop is Cooking. We're getting ready to take another trip to Camp Coop, and I've had a bunch of people request, so on today's episode, I'm going to show you guys exactly how I prep up all the food in my cooler, and stay tuned to the end, because I'm going to show you guys my entire Camp Coop kitchen setup. Let's go to Camp Coop!
What's going on, y'all? All right, we're switching it up a little bit this week. I'm going to show you guys how I prep up my cooler when I hit these camp trips, and stay tuned to the end because I'm going to show you guys my camp setup as well. But first, let me show you guys the items that I'm going to be prepping up for each one of these meals. Starting from right to left, we've got some oregano, hot Italian sausage, and ground beef. That's going to be used in one of the night's pasta dinner dishes. We've also got some breakfast sausage, bacon, and eggs for breakfast. Also for my pasta dish, we've got some Parmesan cheese, one 16-ounce package of 4 cheese tortellini. Gonna prep up some yellow onion, green onion, Italian parsley, and I've got some basil off camera that I'm gonna prep up as well. I just forgot to put it on the counter. 1 can of San Marzano tomatoes that I'm going to be using for my pasta sauce. Got some Italian and herb stir-in paste. And for breakfast, we've got some cream of wheat. I'm going to prep all this up into about 3 different sections. Let's go. First off, I'm going to prep up my eggs. Got my trusty dusty traveling egg container. You can find these on, Amazon. You can find them at the sporting goods store in the camp goods section, but this is perfect for transporting eggs during camp trips. 1/2 dozen eggs should be good. Next, I'm going to dice half of 1 yellow onion. Transfer that into a Ziploc bag. Push as much air out of it as you can, you guys. Seal her on up. Now I'm going to set it aside, and this is going to be the method that we're going to use to prep up pretty much all of our veggies and herbs. Now let's chop up this Italian parsley. Add that to a bag, force all that air out as well. Moving along to the green onions. I'm only going to cut about 2 stalks. I typically try to have not very much waste whenever I go camping, so the food that I bring is the food that I'm eating, and I try to minimize having extra food as much as possible. Next, let's chop down our oregano and do the same. All of my herbs I'm going to add into the same bag though, you guys. Keeping all the herbs together since they're all getting used in the same dish. It's going to save me on space and materials. Now I'm going to quickly grate some Parmesan cheese. Feel free to use the Parmesan cheese of your choosing. Then I'm going to go ahead and bag it and seal it the exact same way. Alright, now we got our veggies and our dairy all prepped up. It's time to move along to our meats. Let's pull the bacon, sausage, and the ground meats back out. I'm going to take a few slices out of the bacon pack. Only take as many slices as you think you're going to be eating during your trip. Doing the same thing with my sausage as well. Just gonna wrap the bacon that I've chosen to take in some parchment paper, fold that up so it's nice and sealed, and I'm gonna keep that with the breakfast sausage that's already wrapped up in its original packaging as well. For my ground meats, I'm only gonna be using about half of each of these. They're both 16 ounces each. That's 1 pound. So I'm going to be using 8 ounces of each. I'm just going to cut them in half, mix them together in a bowl, and then add that into a plastic bag. Make sure I push all that air out. Close it on up, and all of our meat is prepped. I'm going to take all this prepped meat, slide it into a large Ziploc bag, along with the rest of our prepped up meats. After putting all the meat in the bag, I realized your boy is so good at efficiently prepping this bag. I can add some of my other ingredients in here. So I'm going to go ahead and add my prepped up veggies, herbs, and dairy. Once I've got it all in my bag, I'm just going to push out as much air as possible like I did with all the other bags. You want to avoid the air, you guys, because that excess air is just going to warm up your cooler and make all your ice melt. All right, in a separate bag, I'm going to go ahead and prep out all my miscellaneous items that I'm going to be bringing on the trip as well. Going in this bag, I've got some turkey meat to snack on. I've got my tortellini pasta going inside. Got my Italian and herb stir-in paste. Couple of slices of good old American cheese for the road. And I've got some sliced cheeses that I'm bringing as well. Let's pop all this in the fridge as well and let this chill out until we're ready to add it to our cooler with the other bag. That's most of the cooler items there. Now I'm going to prep up my dry goods by adding that cream of wheat that I'm going to bring also into a Ziploc bag, forcing all the air out of that as well. And this is going to go into a bag that I'm going to bring all my dry goods in. And when we get to the campsite, the camp kitchen has a spot underneath where I can put all of my dry goods at. Now, to prep up the actual cooler and get it as cold as possible before we start this trip, I've got one 24 pack of case water and one bottle of vodka. What I'm going to do is put half of this case in the fridge. The other half I'm going to freeze all those water bottles overnight along with my bottle of vodka. This is going to help when I put these inside my cooler to prime it and get it nice and cold before my ice goes in. As you can see, these frozen water bottles and all of my cooled items are helping keep my cooler cold until this ice goes in, which is now. I've got about 3 bags of ice here. I'm going to go ahead and evenly add those over the top of all of my items in the cooler. With exception to the eggs, you want to make sure you pull those out. And once I've evenly distributed all of my ice inside of the cooler, I'm going to pull up all of those prepped up bags so none of that air that's remaining inside any of those bags is going to stay on top of the ice, not inside of it, and it's going to help that ice maintain its temperature and not get warm. And that's it, you guys. That's how I prep up a cooler for my camp trips. Let's go ahead and close this up, get her on over to the site, and stay tuned because next I'm going to show you guys my camp kitchen setup.
What's going on, y'all? Look, I showed you guys how to prep up the food. Let me show you guys what my kitchen setup is out here at Camp Coop. Let's go.
All right, let me show you guys my camp kitchen setup. What I have here is one camp kitchen that I got from Bass Pro Shop. Working our way from left to right, I've got a prep table over here on the left side. I like to throw my cutting board on this and use it for any additional slicing and dicing I need to do during my trip. Underneath, we got a little dry goods pantry. This is where I like to keep all of my dry goods during my camp trip. It zips up nice and easy, so no pests get inside. Although I would advise you to watch out for bears. Moving along here, I've got a bottom rack. I like to keep my pots and pans here, along with a small plastic bin that I bring as well that has all of my kitchen supplies in it. Up top in the middle section of our camp kitchen, we got a sweet little spice rack that I hang up here. I like to add all of my seasonings to the top shelf for easy use. Underneath, I've got an additional rack that I keep some runoff items on, like my kitchen knife. I've got a collapsible measuring cup that I keep here. All the surfaces on the table are heat resistant, so you can safely put your hot pot or pan on top and not worry about burning the place down. We got a paper towel holder here, some S-hooks to hold all of my kitchen items. Behind the paper towels, there's a little divider wall. This one swings out. I've got a sink here in the middle. This thing comes out. Moving along to the right, we now have a metal surface. I use this metal grated surface to sit my Coleman 2-burner camp stove right on top. That's hooked up to a small propane tank. To the right of that, I got a collapsible trash can with a trash bag inside of it. And there you have it, you guys. That is my camp kitchen setup. Let me grab a couple of these items out of my cooler so I can get one of these cooks going. Thank you for rocking with your boy for another episode of Smell What Coop is Cooking. This was a little bit of a behind-the-scenes edition of Camp Coop. Let me know how you guys like this one in the comment section. On that note, don't forget to like, subscribe, share with a friend or foe. You already know, I gotta go.
Hey, there you have it, you guys. On this week's episode, I showed you guys my setup. This is exactly how I hook it up every time I take you guys to Camp Coop. Don't forget to stay tuned to next week's episode when I show you guys exactly how tonight's cook went down. Until then, don't forget to share with a friend or foe, and we'll catch you guys right back here next week with another episode of Smell What Coop is Cooking.